A computer science degree does not lock you into becoming a software engineer. Okay, I said it. You can fight me in the comments. But it does give you, and let me explain why I'm making this video. A lot of times, and including me, when I first started at SNHU, pardon my manners, my name is Giovanni. I am a senior at SNH Online, and I am documenting my process as I'm going along. And we have a family of people and a whole community of individuals going to school, 1,000 strong, okay? And I've built that in just over 5 years. So I started off pursuing computer science at SNHU. That's what I wanted to do. I did not necessarily want to be a software engineer. I didn't know what I wanted to do with my computer science degree, but what a computer science degree will do is it gives you a technical foundation that you can support almost any technology career. So if you know how to build on top of it, and let me explain. So someone asked me whether a bachelor's of science and computer science would still help on an IT resume if their long-term goal is cybersecurity, networking, or cloud. And my answer was yes, and I'll explain why. A computer science degree is respected across a wide range of technical roles because it teaches you how a system thinks. And for some people, system thinking is tough. And so this gives you an opportunity to learn that. You are exposed to all of those things, and that foundation does matter, even if you never become a full-time software engineer. In cybersecurity, it helps you to understand what applications are doing, where vulnerabilities come from, and how code can fail. Cloud, if that's your thing. Now, I work with cloud, but I am not dedicated into cloud. Cloud helps you understand automations, how APIs talk to each other's infrastructure as code, like distributed systems, and how applications actually use environments that you're building, okay? So if your thing is more like understanding like the veins, if we were to kind of put this into an analogy like the body, if you want to understand like how the veins work of a system and how like the backbone of a lot of the world, networking. So in networking, you're really going to learn like protocols and systems and software communications across the infrastructure. If you're like looking at technical support or product support, it could help you to move beyond like simply following a checklist. You can start understanding what is happening underneath the issue. So, but here's the part that people, in my opinion, need to hear. The degree alone is not the finished product. And I know, again, fight me in the comments. I'm fine with that. Anybody who has one of these degrees will tell you that is not the finished product. A degree can help you pass a resume screen. And I know that sounds horrible, but that's really what it is, because to get a bachelor's degree, at a minimum, that tells a company that you're willing to show up for 4 years to go to that school, 5 years in my case. But going for a master's degree, it tells somebody that you're willing to show up for 2 years or a year and a half, depends on what you have. So it gets you through the resume screening. It may help you get into the conversation, but it does not automatically prove that you can actually troubleshoot a real incident. It doesn't show that you know how to do identity platform. You can't build anything in cloud because you haven't really done anything outside of school projects. And the reason why I say it that way is what you can do is what will get you higher. That's through my experience. I'm speaking my side of things. Explaining risk to a customer, for example. If you have not done nothing but a school project, but you haven't gone out to go get anything further than that, you haven't built any labs, you haven't gone on into any AI platforms and said, hey, I need to learn how to explain risk to a customer and actually practice being pushed back and argued with by an AI, and then you can really explain yourself so you can understand. If you can't work through ambiguity of any form, you'll still need to build evidence. Just getting the degree only gets you to a certain point. If your target is cybersecurity, and let's say you are not willing to understand networking because you're trying to figure out, I want to learn cybersecurity, I want to get into cybersecurity. I was there. So I'm not speaking to you as somebody who has not done it. I was there saying I wanted to get into cybersecurity. Like that was my jam, and that is my jam. But understand that in the process of that, I learned, well, Gio, how are you going to do cybersecurity when you're not willing to study networking? I remember flopping on my face during Linux class because I had no idea what I was doing. I never did networking before. I did identity security, like I did that in my current job, but I had never done much else outside of that because I wasn't willing to build at first outside of going to school. So I'm telling you, having hands-on labs and being able to put those hands-on labs where a company can find it. Okay, so I'm going to give you some unconventional advice that you may not have heard someplace else. You need a website. You need a place where your stuff is going to live. And I'm telling you, just sitting there going through and saying, hey, I'm putting my stuff on LinkedIn, LinkedIn owns that. I need you to start putting together a space that's yours that you can send. Now, let me give you some place that I think you could use, if you haven't considered it, Notion. Notion has a student discount that you could use to start building your portfolio. At each one of those pages, you can make a live page where you could send to someone. It may not be a big website, but at least that Notion page, you can control that. And it's not very expensive. Let me finish up by saying, if your target is cloud and AWS and Azure, networking, IAM scripting, like cost awareness, monitoring, like that's your jam, and you're kind of getting into like infrastructure automation, okay, your degree that you're going to go through, it will definitely prepare you for that. But you're going to need to build projects. And I know you've heard this, but now you're hearing it from me. And if you're part of this community, you know I've been showing my vulnerability since the beginning, and I'm okay with that. I'm telling you that building projects has been the biggest and the most life-changing for me because I built a project and said, I have no idea what I'm doing, but I'm going to go learn it. And I did. Then I put it on the Notion page. So when someone comes and says, hey, can you show me an example of where you did DNS? Okay. Here's a page. I go onto my Notion page and I send it to them. Or I go onto my Notion page and I show them how I would do it. That's where I built mine. I'm not saying you need to do that. I'm just saying Notion is cheap enough as a student that you could go through and use that as a way to create pages for your website until such time you build a website or have someone build it for you. It's very easy, one page at a time. And that's the way you can do it. So certifications can help, but they should support your direction. You are building something great. And I think that the only way to move forward is not just collecting certifications. Certifications with no story just tells me that you can sit down and memorize content. It doesn't mean that you can apply that. So do not worry too much right now about whether you're going to love or hate coding, okay? You do not have to become a software engineer, but you can benefit from learning. And the modern IT world that I entered, okay, just knowing like basic scripting can make you much more effective. If you want to learn something, Python works, okay? I didn't know Python. I didn't. I had to take Python class, but I didn't know Python, but I was glad I was exposed to it, even though I struggled doing it, and you will too. If you've never done Python, it's easy to pick it up once you spend time with it, but don't expect that Python's going to be, hey, I'm going to sit down, read a book, and I'm going to learn. I'm going to tell you something that I learned when I got ready to switch, because one of them was computer science. Then I went into data. Okay, I thought, well, you know what? I really enjoyed this data class. Let me go in this direction. Don't think that your path is going to just be one line. The goal is not to become perfect at everything. The goal is to create a stronger technical foundation that layers practical skill on top of it. So, yes, a computer science degree can absolutely support your IT, cloud, networking, cybersecurity career. The degree can help you get into the conversation. But, and here's the big but, your projects, your communication, your judgment, your certifications, and the real world experience of what makes someone choose you. All right. If you have any questions, you want to fight me inside the comments, this is the time. Go ahead. I'm happy to have the conversation with anybody who's willing to share inside of the comment section. Again, we are a community of 1,000 people, different students at different walks of life, and everybody is coming here for that same thing. So I'll see you next time.